And we're live.
When I started Woodycraft, the 15-year-old that I partnered with was a helicopter pilot, and he used to fly to Cracker Barrel and get lunch and presumably licorice and then fly away. I thought that was pretty high. I don't know, like, that's your hobby? Okay.
God, he'd have to like go back with intentionally less weight. Stomach from goddamn cracker.
Threw in a fruit-free soda. I don't think I can make it back with that. He had a small. Do you remember what kind of chopper he had?
It was the kind you were in, like the R-22 or something.
The most dangerous helicopter on Earth, the Robinson 22.
But the least expensive that I know of. Anyway.
The two go hand in hand. Yeah. So many people, like I personally know people who have died in R-22s, and I don't know that many people who fly helicopters, right? Like I know like 8 guys who like make a habit of flying these things. One of them died. A completely different guy shattered his foot, and like, you know, you hear about people breaking their foot. He shattered his, like he'll never walk right again.
I got a helicopter friend who crashed in an R-22. Yeah, he flew it all the time and got really good, and he used to like turn it off and auto rotate on practice and everything. And then a representative from Robinson said, "Oh, you think you can do some tricks? Let me show you what this thing can really do." Crashed the fuck out of it. You know? And he couldn't walk for months, and it really got wrecked. And I have a couple helicopter pilot friends because apparently they like paramotors too. And all of them are like, yeah, I fly helicopters for a living, but I can't fly one of those. Everything's manual about it. There's no auto leveling, like gyro or whatever. Just everything is manual, and it's hard to fly.
All of the pilots that I've personally flown with, I always ask them, like, before we go up, first of all, I'm going to get in it regardless of what they say, but I'll ask them how many hours they have, and I'll ask them what their flying history is, just so I feel a bit more comfortable with them or whatever. And one guy was older, like I couldn't put a finger on his age, but 60s. And so that concerned me just a little bit. And I was just, he looked like a fit 60 though, no belly, square shoulders. And I was like, "How long have you been flying?" He said, "Since Nam." And I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go. Can we do some tricks? That's the guy who dangled me beneath his helicopter on the rope. Like when he told me he'd been in Nam, I was like, all right, I trust you 1,000%. Like, swing me through the trees.
Didn't the other one have trouble that day? Wasn't there like...
There was almost a crash that day. There was a much, much younger pilot in an R-22 flying my cousin Scott with like the secondary camera. He was our camera helicopter, and I'm the shooter helicopter, which I believe was a Robinson 44. And we asked him, you know, how many hours do you have? Completely separate. We didn't like go from one to the other, you know, because that's shitty.
Penis?
Yeah, that's shitty. And it's clear that like the older guy's gonna have more hours. Like he didn't even tell us how many hours. He was like, "Since Nam." You think I'm counting at this point? But the other guy was like, "How many hours do you have?" And I didn't ask him. My friend did. He was like, "Enough." And we were like, "Enough to be like bare minimum? Is that what you mean? Or are you being a smart ass right now?"
Low enough that I don't want to say.
Low enough that I don't want to say is what we took from it. And so there was we're doing these big circles around the shooting field. We're making passes as we shoot our explosive targets and stuff. And on one of the passes, we're all connected on radio. You know, we've all got headsets on, and it's noise canceling. It's excellent stuff. So like, no matter how loud the rotors are, even when you're hanging out the door of a helicopter with a machine gun shooting, you can hear clearly what the other pilot is saying. And you hear him, whoop. And I like look, and he's getting all squirrely, and he has to do some sort of maneuver where he makes a big circle out over the field to like regain altitude, because he was gonna crash. He was gonna fucking crash and take my cousin down with him. But yeah, those things are dangerous.
My theory is he hit his own wake. I bet that's what happened. That he flew,
or even hours.
Okay, yeah, that he flew into air that he didn't expect it to behave like that.
Yeah, man, it's flying's dangerous stuff. You had a little spill this week, I understand.
Yeah, yes. We already talked about that.
Yeah, I still want to see the video so that I can commentate on it. I know we're not gonna like throw that out there publicly for the average consumer to partake of, but I am all last night. I was like, hope he sends it. Maybe he'll text it to me.
I actually uploaded it. I didn't send it to anybody though.
Ooh, looking forward to
that. Yeah.
Are you intentionally keeping that one off?
Exactly.
Because a lot is a bit of it like you don't want maybe Jackie to see the level of danger that's
I think you'll be
active up there.
Underwhelmed, actually. Like I've watched it probably 100 times now, and Really, I'm just sort of turning my way in, and I instead of leveling out about 4 feet over where I thought I would, I hit the ground. And, I didn't hide anything from Jackie or anything. I called her and told her. I was like, honey, I think I'm going to need a new frame and some new swing arms. And it happened to be on our wedding anniversary. And she's like,
how's your frame and your swing
I
arms?
led with that. I'm like, I'm fine, but, I broke this and that. And she's like, all right, well, happy anniversary. I know what you're getting. And
wait a minute. Your anniversary is shockingly close to Colin's birthday. Do you think there's any correlation there?
Well, I mean,
I think that.
No, that's not how it works. Are you thinking that gestation is a year?
For a moment, it appears that I was thinking that. I might be retarded.
Oh, we're all a little.
Like you have, the whale's gestation period is 12 months.
I'm sure that's where you were headed. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, how stupid am I?
Not as dumb as the chicken guy. So
That's fair.
That's okay. I feel redeemed.
Hey, watch the jerk burger.
I forget where I was going. Anyway, so I called in, but it turned out we just bent the frame back. It's made out of titanium, which is remarkably able to bend back more times than steel or aluminum.
Yeah, that's really cool. Titanium, I don't have a ton of experience, but I've held pieces of titanium in machine shops, and I'm always shocked at just how light it is. It's very light.
Yeah, it's a good strength to weight ratio, so
yeah,
you don't have to use too much.
Do you know? This is a super boring question. Do you know what its weight comparison is with aluminum?
It's not
lighter
too
or heavier.
different than aircraft
Regular aluminum or aluminized steel.
Aluminized steel.
We have to wrap up Paramotor talk. I'm not responsible for it this time.
Well,
I didn't bring it up and try to change the topic. But
this is fun, Paramotor.
The answer is aircraft aluminum and titanium frames are roughly the same weight. It's just that with aluminum, if you bend it, it might bend back once. It might just be broken the first time. Whereas with titanium, you can pretzel that fucker and bend it back and fly it again.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I guess that's probably why so many military aircraft are made out of titanium. Because I remember reading about or maybe watching a TV show about the stealth fighters that go to high altitude and how the frames swell and expand and contract with the heat.
Is that still true? I knew that happened with the old one. It was you said fuel tanks, didn't you? The beef.
I was talking about the I think it was the SR-71 Blackbird that they built with gaps between the pieces because it was going so fast, I guess, that it would heat up and they would expand and then the gaps would be sealed, which is just fascinating.
Yes.
Isn't it crazy that only 150 years ago or whatever, there were people a human being cannot sustain speeds of over 30 miles an hour for any extended period of time. It will surely perish. And then now we're flying at thousands of miles an hour. I don't know. It's crazy how much we've evolved so quickly. That guy would feel like a real boob today, freaking the fuck out as you're going slow in the rain on the highway. We've been going 50 for an hour now. I can feel my heart palpitating. It's all right, settle down, Ebenezer.
Yeah, I guess at the time, a horse would be the fastest way you could travel, right? Literally the top speed you could reach would be on the back of a horse.
I have maybe
horsepower.
Downhill on wheels could be faster.
But the bicycle wasn't invented until the late 1800s, and it was that big silly one with the big front wheel.
Yeah, is it called a pennywise or a penny?
Oh, a penny whistle,
Furling?
A penny. Penny farthing.
Is that right?
I think that's it.
Farthing, penny farthing. I think that was one of the silly. Who invented that? Where he had a good enough idea to come up with that, and he's like, and the front wheel will be enormous.
Well, he didn't need a chain drive.
Well, then you'll ride very high. You'll need friends to get up.
But it was simple to make, right? Because the way it is now is they have a one size sprocket on the front, another size sprocket on the back, and they have to work the ratios and make it so that pedaling gets you a decent distance. Whereas if they just put a giant fucking wheel on it, then that's the ratio change in itself.
Yeah, and on the penny farthing, there's no chain, of course. The pedals are just connected directly to the spoke of that gigantic wheel. So you're getting identical RP. It's I'm looking at one right now just to see how stupid they are. The idea that how this doesn't make sense technologically, because you look at so many other inventions, like the car, you can totally see that evolved like from the very early ones to the modern ones, and you're like, oh yeah, well that makes sense. Yeah. Oh, sleeker. Okay. Oh, the steel isn't all boxy now. They're making like rounded out aluminum. Oh, and that now plastic. It's even lighter. This doesn't make any sense in the evolutionary tree of vehicles at all. This is retarded. And they must have been very difficult to ride, right?
They must have been impossible to ride. Like you accidentally turn a little bit on your giant wheel and you're just careening 7 feet downward with your head, and you're wearing a little shitty leather cap that they used for football matches back in the day.
None of these guys are wearing helmets. They're all wearing like little bowler hats and stuff like that. Like nobody's wearing head protection
while they're doing it. Yeah.
This is after Chiz's hat was in style.
They're riding their paperboy jobs. That's so dumb. Can you think of anything else that evolved oddly, like bikes?
A unicycle comes to mind.
That was just some guy fucking around.
Hoverboard's just a misnamed piece of bullshit. Doesn't hover at all. It's just a forward skateboard.
I agree there. It's not a hoverboard at all. Heelys are more fun than those hoverboards, and Heelys have been around for a long time. I remember when those were huge when I was like in late grade school, I guess, and like using those on the playground and like getting speed going down the blacktop, and then you inevitably fall onto like gravel, get a bunch of little pieces of rock embedded in your leg, and then you find them popping out like 20 years later. So.
Yeah, I had a similar experience, except I was 35. But,
you're 30.
Did you guys see T-Mark get a hoverboard? It was a pretty awesome video. So if people don't know T-Mark, in real life, he's like 6'4", 6'5", something like that. Like, he's a big guy. And it was popular that people were buying these hoverboards and making YouTube videos about them. And I think he just wanted to give it a try to like hop on the trend. And he goes out there and he tries to do a kickflip or something. And his hoverboard is like 15 minutes old, and he snaps it in two from like doing a trick. And I think he was genuinely like, I was devastated is an exaggeration, but he was sad. He didn't want his board to break, but it was like, stupid me. And then the video got millions of views, and it paid for itself.
Paid for a whole nother hoverboard to fuck around on and break.
Or 10 more. So it worked out well. But I liked this. It was fun watching him make bad decisions on a hoverboard.
They're shockingly easy to use. Me and Richard Ryan were playing with one once, and I was like, well, before we blow this up, let me try it. And we messed around with it, and we did a video where Richard is on the hoverboard with an enormous belt-fed machine gun, if I remember correctly, and he's hoverboarding through a house, shooting stuff as he goes. It's pretty funny. But yeah, they're really easy to use. I thought they were going to be difficult because I could not skateboard. Like there's just, I do not have that balance, and it makes me understand that I couldn't surf either, most likely, without a ton of practice to like gain that balance. Because I tried to skateboard once when I was 15 or something. I had a friend who like had a skate. He was like a skateboard dude. Mm-hmm. He had the appropriate shirts and shoes,
hairstyle.
Absolutely, and habits. And so I tried to do a kickflip out in front of his house, and the board like karate chopped my shin. And at 15, I was enough of a man that I wasn't going to cry in front of my friend on the street. But at 14, I wouldn't have been. It hurt that much. It hurt that fucking much. It was so good. And I was like, never again. Never again.
I haven't done a hoverboard, but I've done like the unicycle variant of one. Have you tried one of those? It has like
unicycle variant.
I don't even know.
Oh, is it the thing that looks like a Segway except it's just one wheel and you kind of like hug it with your knees?
Yes.
It's like the mall cop thing. The mall cops ride around on.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have any handlebars. Do mall cops have that?
Oh, maybe not. Yeah, I haven't seen many mall cops on those. They usually ride around on the regular Segways.
Here, I'm gonna.
Chiz says it is a Segway, just no handlebars. It's a barless Segway. I can't imagine being in a situation where I could need that.
No. When I see those guys at the
airport, if I need to,
I'm
going to bust out this other technology called jogging, and I'll get there without having to carry a giant. Yeah, look at how stupid that thing looks.
Oh, I don't like that at all. That's so lame.
Really? I thought. Well, I guess it seemed pretty cool to me.
Dude, the powered skateboards are cool. Like I saw a guy going uphill.
I've done that.
I
Those
saw a guy
are
going
cool.
uphill in Atlanta on a skateboard, and he was like from his body language and his stance, he had excellent balance because he wasn't like really aggressive on it. He was just relaxed, like chilling on it, and he may have even been checking his phone while going uphill on a goddamn skateboard. And I was just like, that's fucking cool.
But there's a thing. So I did this because I was at a Paramotor fly-in, and these are better on grass. It's like an 18-inch wheel. A skateboard wheel doesn't go, I mean, unless it's like golf course grass, it doesn't handle it very well.
Sure.
So this thing, the guy broke it out, and it was kind of cool, but to learn it, we had to hold hands for a while. So we're like almost palm reading, as he's holding my hands and I'm standing on it, and he's teaching me like, I don't know, how to balance and how to lean forward and what it does. And it was just like, this is just the gayness that I have to endure to play with this.
You
toy.
don't often